Admiral Keon stood in front of the massive screen, his four arms crossed behind his back. The blue light from the display made his gray skin look even paler than usual. He had been watching human combat footage for 3 hours now, and his large, black eyes were starting to hurt. "Commander Nara, play the next file," he said without turning around. Commander Nara touched her control panel with her long, thin fingers. She was much smaller than Keon, but her species was known for their sharp minds. The Celestial Federation had sent her to help analyze these strange new creatures called humans. The screen flickered and showed a new battle scene. Smoke filled the air, and the sound of weapons firing echoed through the observation room. Human. Soldiers ran across broken ground, their primitive guns spitting fire at unseen enemies. "This is from the Battle of Kepler Station," Nara said, reading from her notes. "Human forces were outnumbered 3-1. They should have lost." Keon nodded slowly. "But they didn't. That's what makes this interesting." The footage was grainy and shook as the camera moved. It came from a human soldier's helmet, recording everything he saw. The quality was poor compared to alien technology, but it was enough to see what happened. In the video, human soldiers took cover behind broken walls and metal beams. They shouted to each other in their strange language, coordinating attacks. Most of them moved like Keon expected, careful, scared, following basic military training. But one soldier was different. "There," Nara pointed at the screen. "Do you see him?" A human figure moved through the battle like water flowing around rocks. While other soldiers took cover and moved slowly, this one seemed to dance between enemy fire. He appeared for just a moment, fired his weapon with impossible accuracy, then disappeared again. "Freeze the image," Keon ordered. The screen stopped on a blurry image of the soldier. His face was mostly hidden by his helmet and the smoke around him. He wore the same armor as the other humans, carried the same type of weapon, but something about the way he held himself was different. "Mark this soldier as Subject Delta 7, Keon said. "I want to track his movements through the entire battle." Nara's fingers danced over her controls. Bright blue lines appeared on the screen, showing where the soldier had been throughout the fight. The pattern made no sense. "Admiral," Nara said, her voice worried. "According to this data, Subject Delta 7 was in 4 different locations at the same time." Keon turned to look at her. "That's impossible." "I know, but look at the timestamps." She highlighted different parts of the video. "Here he is on the eastern wall at 1432. Here he is attacking from the south at 1432. And here he is covering the retreat from the north, also at 1432. They watched in silence as Nara played the footage again. Each time they focused on a different part of the battle, they saw the same soldier doing impossible things. He moved too fast, appeared in too many places, and somehow survived attacks that killed other humans instantly. "Data corruption," Keon said finally. "It has to be. These human recording devices are primitive." But even as he said it, he didn't believe it. The Veltari Empire had the best analysis equipment in the galaxy. If there was corruption, they would have found it. "Admiral, there's something else," Nara said. She pulled up another file. "This is from a battle on Mars colony 6 months before Kepler Station." The new footage showed red Martian soil and the gleaming domes of human buildings. Again, human soldiers fought against overwhelming odds. And again, one soldier moved differently from the others. Nara zoomed in on the figure. Same height, same build, same impossible movements. Even through the poor video quality, it was clearly the same person. "That's unlikely," Keon said slowly. "It gets worse." Nara opened file after file. "Europa Base, Titan Mining Station, the defense of Luna City. All different battles, all different planets, all with the same soldier." They watched hours of footage. In every battle, Subject Delta 7 appeared like a ghost. He saved groups of human soldiers from certain death. He destroyed enemy equipment. That should have been impossible to reach. He survived explosions that left craters in the ground. "How many battles has he been in?" Keon asked. Nara checked her files. "According to our records, 17 major conflicts over the past 15 years. Every time human forces faced impossible odds, he was there." 15 years? Keon's voice rose. "That would make him either very lucky or very skilled or—" Nara paused. or something else entirely? They stared at the frozen image on the screen. The human looked so normal, so ordinary. His equipment was the same as every other human soldier. His armor bore the same markings, the same wear patterns. But the way he moved, the things he accomplished, were far beyond normal. Could it be multiple humans? Keon asked. Soldiers who look similar? I thought of that. Nara brought up a new analysis. I compared body measurements, movement patterns, even the way he holds his weapon. It's the same person, Admiral. I'm sure of it. Keon felt a chill run through his body. The Veltari Empire had fought wars across the galaxy for 1,000 years. They had faced the strongest warriors of dozens of species. But they had never seen anything like this. What do we know about human military capabilities? He asked. Not much. They're new to space combat. Their weapons are primitive, their armor is basic. Most of our analysts dismiss them as barely civilized. Nara paused. But if this soldier represents their true potential, she didn't need to finish. Both aliens understood what they were looking at. If humans could produce warriors like Subject Delta 7, then every calculation about their species was wrong. Has anyone else seen this footage? Keon asked. Just our analysis team. I marked it classified until we understood what we were dealing with. Good. Keep it that way. Keon turned back to the screen. Run a deep analysis on every piece of human combat footage we have. Cross-reference faces, movement patterns, anything that might identify individuals. I want to know if there are more like him. And if there are? Keon was quiet for a long moment. The implications were staggering. The Galactic Council had been treating humans as a minor species barely worth attention. They had technology that was centuries behind the galactic standard. Their ships were slow, their weapons weak, their armor thin. But if they could produce soldiers like this, if there are more, Keon said finally, then we need to completely reassess what we think we know about humanity. Nara nodded and began entering commands into her system. New files appeared on the screen, hundreds of hours of combat footage from across human space. Somewhere in all that data was the truth about Subject Delta 7, and possibly about an entire species they had underestimated. As the first new file began to play, Keon settled in for a long night of watching. He had a feeling that by morning, everything they thought they knew about humans would have changed forever. The screen flickered. With images of war, and in the smoke and chaos, a legend was waiting to be discovered. 3 days later, Admiral Keon's office looked like a war room. Screens covered every wall, showing maps, timelines, and frozen images from combat footage. Commander Nara sat surrounded by data tablets, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "Show me what you found," Keon said. Nara touched her main screen. A timeline appeared, stretching back 15 years. Red dots marked battles across human space, each one connected by thin lines. "His name is Woo-Jin Park," she said. "At least that's what the early records show. Age 23 when he first appeared in military files. Born on Earth, enlisted as a private in the Colonial Defense Force." The screen showed a young human face, clean-shaven, bright eyes, ordinary in every way. He looked like thousands of other human soldiers they had seen in the footage. "This was taken during basic training," Nara continued. "Nothing special about his scores. Average fitness, average marksmanship, average intelligence ratings." "Then what happened?" Keon asked. "His first real battle was on Mars Colony. The automated defense systems went crazy and started attacking the human settlements. Wu Jin was part of a rescue squad sent to evacuate civilians. The screen changed to show the red surface of Mars. The human colony looked like a collection of clear domes connected by covered walkways. But in the footage, smoke poured from several buildings, and metal robots moved between the structures, like hunting animals. "The defense robots were designed to protect the colony," Nara explained. "But something in their programming broke. They started seeing the colonists as threats. In the video, human soldiers moved carefully between buildings. They carried weapons that seemed tiny compared to the massive robots they faced. Most of the soldiers stayed far back, using cover and trying to disable the machines from a distance. But one soldier moved differently. "There," Nara pointed. "Woo-Jin Park, age 23, 3 months out of basic training." The young soldier ran directly toward one of the robots. The machine turned its weapons toward him, but somehow every shot missed. Wu Jin moved like he knew exactly where each burst of fire would go before it happened. He reached the robot and climbed onto its back. His hands moved with impossible speed, finding weak points in the armor that engineers had hidden deep inside the machine's structure. Within seconds, the robot collapsed. "How did he know where to strike?" Keon asked. "That's what we've been trying to figure out." Nara brought up technical drawings of the robot. These weak points weren't in any manual. The engineers who built these machines said it would take years of study to find them. The video continued. Wu Jin destroyed 3 more robots in the same way. Each time he seemed to know exactly what to do, where to strike, how to move. Other soldiers followed his lead, but they moved like normal humans. Careful, uncertain, learning through trial and error. After Mars, his commanding officers noticed something was different, Nara said. His mission reports mentioned unusual tactical awareness and quick learning ability, but nothing that seemed impossible. More footage played across the screens, battle after battle, year after year. Each time, Wu Jin did things that should have been impossible. He survived explosions that destroyed buildings. He moved through enemy fire like it couldn't touch him. He appeared in places where no human should have been able to go. "Look at this one," Nara said, switching to a new file. "The Titan mining disaster 4 years after Mars." The screen showed the largest moon of Saturn, covered in industrial mining equipment. Massive machines dug into the frozen surface, harvesting resources for the human colonies. But something had gone wrong. Explosions rocked the mining platforms and poisonous gases leaked from broken pipes. 200 civilian workers were trapped underground, Nara explained. The rescue team said it was impossible to reach them. The tunnels were collapsing, the air was toxic, and more explosions could happen at any moment. In the footage, rescue teams stood at the entrance to the mines. Their leader, a woman with short black hair, shook her head and spoke into a radio. The words weren't clear, but her meaning was obvious. The civilians were lost. Then Wu Jin stepped forward. The video followed him as he entered the mine alone. The tunnel was dark, filled with smoke and falling debris. His helmet light cut through the darkness, showing a path that seemed to lead nowhere but death. But Wu Jin moved, like he had a map of the entire mine in his head. He turned left where the tunnels split, avoided areas just before they collapsed, and somehow found pockets of clean air in the poison-filled underground. He brought out all 200 workers, Nara said quietly. 1 at a time, sometimes 2, if they were small. 47 trips into those mines while they were collapsing around him. Keon watched in silence as the footage showed Wu Jin emerging again and again, carrying unconscious humans to safety. Each trip should have been his last. The mine was falling apart, the air was deadly, and the whole structure could have collapsed at any moment. "How long did this take?" Keon asked. 18 hours. He didn't stop, didn't rest, didn't even pause to eat or drink. That's impossible. No human can work that long under those conditions. I know. But we have the footage from 17 different cameras. It happened. More battles followed on the timeline. Europa Base, where Wu Jin held off an entire enemy force by himself for 3 days. The Luna City Siege, where he somehow disabled a starship from the ground using only hand weapons. Each impossible victory added to his legend. The other soldiers started calling him different names, Nara said. Ghost, Shadow, the one who walks through walls. Did his commanders notice? Keon asked. They tried to promote him, but he always refused. Said he worked better as a regular soldier. They offered him special training, advanced equipment, even command of his own unit. He turned down everything. Why? No one knows. His psychological profiles show a man who just wanted to help people. He didn't seem interested in fame or power or recognition. The timeline moved forward, showing more recent battles. But something changed in the footage. Keon could see it in the way Wu Jin moved, in the weapons he carried, in the tactics he used. He's getting better, Keon said. Not just better. Faster, stronger, smarter. Look at this. Nara showed footage from 2 years ago. He's moving at least 30% faster than he did in the early videos. His reaction times are impossible even for enhanced humans. Enhanced? Keon's head turned sharply. What do you mean enhanced? Some species use genetic modification or cybernetic implants to improve their soldiers. We assumed humans didn't have that technology yet. But if they do? Nara nodded grimly. Then Woojin Park isn't just a skilled soldier, he's something else entirely. The screens around them showed hundreds of moments where Woojin had done the impossible. Jumping farther than physics should allow, surviving impacts that would crush normal humans, moving with precision that suggested he could see the future. There's something else, Nara said. About 6 months ago, he disappeared. Disappeared? His last official mission was listed as classified. After that, no records, no sightings, no communication. The human military database shows him as missing in action, presumed dead. Keon stared at the timeline. The red dots stopped suddenly, leaving empty space where more battles should have been. But if he's dead, then this is just historical analysis, Keon said slowly. Maybe. Or maybe he's still out there, fighting battles we don't know about. Nara pulled up the most recent intelligence reports. Human colonies on the border have reported strange incidents. Enemy raids that failed for no apparent reason. Impossible victories by small groups of soldiers. You think he's still active? I think Woojin Park represents something we don't understand about humanity. And if there are more like him... She didn't finish the sentence. Both aliens knew what it meant. If humans could create soldiers like Woojin Park, then every assumption about their military capabilities was wrong. The new species that seemed so primitive and harmless might actually be the most dangerous force in the galaxy. Continue the analysis, Keon ordered. I want to know everything about this human, where he came from, how he got these abilities, and whether there are others like him. And if we find out he's still alive? Keon looked at the screens full of impossible moments, at the timeline of victories that should never have happened. Somewhere out there, a human who could walk through walls and see the future might still be protecting his people. Then we need to decide whether humanity is a potential ally, he said quietly, or the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known. Admiral Keon had not slept in 2 days. His research team worked around the clock, digging deeper into human military records. What they found made him question everything he thought he knew about the galaxy. Admiral, Commander Nara called from across the room. I found something. You need to see this. Keon walked over to her station. On her screen was a file marked with symbols he had never seen before, human classification marks that meant the highest level of secrecy. How did you access this? He asked. I didn't. It accessed us. Nara's voice was worried. Someone on the human side opened a communication channel and sent this directly to our ship. The file opened automatically. A woman's face appeared on the screen, middle-aged, with tired eyes and gray hair pulled back severely. She wore the uniform of a human military scientist. My name is Dr. Hai-Jin Lee, the woman said in accented galactic standard. I know you've been studying our combat footage. I know you found Woojin Park. Keon felt his blood turn cold. How could the humans know what they were doing? I'm sending you this message because you need to understand what you're really looking at, Dr. Lee continued. And because Woojin deserves to have his story told properly. The video changed to show a secure laboratory deep underground. Scientists in white coats moved between machines that hummed with power. In the center of the room was a chair surrounded by complex equipment. 15 years ago, the human government started Project Endurance, Dr. Lee explained. We knew that space was dangerous. We knew that other species were stronger, faster, and smarter than us, so we decided to make better humans. Images flashed across the screen. Genetic diagrams, surgical procedures, brain scans that showed impossible activity, patterns. Keon realized he was looking at technology that rivaled anything the Galactic Council possessed. We selected 12 volunteers from our best soldiers, Dr. Lee continued. All young, all healthy, all willing to risk everything for their species. We enhanced their bodies, their minds, their reflexes. We tried to create super soldiers who could protect humanity. 11 of them died. The words hit Keon like a physical blow. He watched as the video showed medical charts, each one ending in failure. Enhanced hearts that couldn't handle the stress, brains that couldn't process the new connections, bodies that rejected the modifications. Woojin was the only success, Dr. Lee said. But success came with a price. The screen showed a young man lying unconscious in a medical bed. Machines monitored every aspect of his body, showing readings that seemed impossible. His heart beat too fast, his brain activity was off all charts, and his muscle responses were beyond human norms. When he woke up, he was no longer the same person, Dr. Lee explained. His reflexes were 10 times faster than a normal human. He could process information like a computer. His body could heal from injuries that would kill anyone else. The video showed Wu Jin in training sessions. He moved through obstacle courses like they were standing still. He hit targets that were too small to see. He solved tactical problems in seconds that took normal humans hours. But the enhancements came with side effects we didn't expect, Dr. Lee continued. He couldn't sleep normally. He couldn't form close relationships. He saw every situation as a tactical problem to be solved. We had created the perfect soldier, but we had destroyed the man. Keon watched as the video showed Wu Jin's psychological evaluations. The young man sat stiffly in interviews, answering questions with mechanical precision. There was intelligence in his eyes, but also a distance that suggested he no longer saw the world the same way as normal humans. The government wanted to create more enhanced soldiers, Dr. Lee said. They wanted to use Wu Jin as a template, but I couldn't let that happen. I had seen what it cost him. The scene changed to show chaos in the laboratory. Alarms blared, security forces ran through corridors, and computer systems sparked and failed. In the middle of it all, Dr. Lee was destroying research data. I sabotaged Project Endurance, she admitted. I destroyed all the research, all the equipment, all the records. Then I helped Wu Jin escape. The video showed a different scene, a woman with short hair meeting Wu Jin in a dark corridor. Keon realized this must be Sujin Han, the medic Dr. Lee had mentioned. She handed Wu Jin civilian clothes and identification papers. Sujin was the only person who could get close to him, Dr. Lee explained. She understood that beneath the enhancements, he was still human, still someone who wanted to help people. The official report said Wu Jin died in a training accident, Dr. Lee continued. But really, we gave him a new identity and let him disappear. We thought he would try to live a normal life. We were wrong. The video changed to show recent footage, the same battles that Keon and Nara had been analyzing. But now they understood what they were seeing. Wu Jin hadn't abandoned his enhanced abilities. He had used them to protect human colonies that couldn't protect themselves. He's been operating alone for 6 years, Dr. Lee said. No official support, no backup, no recognition. He just goes where people need help and does what needs to be done. But now you've found him, and that changes everything. The communication switched to real time. Dr. Lee was looking directly at them through the screen, her tired eyes focused on Keon's face. Admiral Keon of the Veltari Empire, she said. Commander Nara of the Celestial Federation. I know who you are, and I know what you're thinking. Keon stepped back in shock. How could she know so much about them? You're wondering if there are more like Wu Jin, Dr. Lee continued. You're wondering if humanity has been hiding our true military capabilities. You're wondering if we're a threat. She leaned forward in her chair. The answer is no. Wu Jin is unique. Project Endurance failed because human beings aren't meant to be enhanced the way we enhanced him. We created one perfect soldier at the cost of destroying who he used to be. But you're also wondering something else, Dr. Lee said. You're wondering why I'm telling you this, why I'm revealing our greatest secret. The screen showed new footage. Alien ships moving through space, heading toward human territory. Keon recognized the formations, military scouts, testing human defenses. Because other species have noticed what Wu Jin can do, Dr. Lee said. They've seen the same footage. You've seen. And some of them think that capturing or killing him will remove humanity's greatest defender. They're wrong, she continued. Wu Jin isn't our greatest defender because of his enhancements. He's our greatest defender because he represents what humans are capable of when we refuse to give up. The video showed more recent battles, human soldiers fighting against impossible odds, winning through determination and courage rather than superior technology. None of them had Wu Jin's abilities, but all of them had his spirit. Every human who has served with him, every colony he has saved, every person who has heard his story, they all learned something important, Dr. Lee said. They learned that being human means never accepting defeat. So yes, Admiral Keon, you have discovered our legend. But Woojin Park isn't dangerous because he's enhanced. He's dangerous because he's human. The communication ended, leaving Keon and Nara staring at a blank screen. Around them, the analysis room was silent except for the hum of computers and the quiet breathing of tired staff members. "What do we do now?" Nara asked quietly. Keon looked at the screens full of data about humanity's greatest soldier. They had found their legend, but they had also found something more dangerous. The truth about what humans were capable of when they decided to fight. "Now," Keon said slowly, "we have to decide whether the galaxy is ready to learn what we've learned." On the screens around them, frozen images of Woojin Park stared back, a man who had given up everything to become something beyond human, but who had used that gift to remain the most human of all. The legend was real, and that changed everything. Word traveled fast through the dark channels of galactic intelligence. Within a week of Dr. Lee's revelation, every major military power knew about the enhanced human called Woojin Park. What they decided to do about it varied greatly. Commander. Vex of the Cronin Empire stood before his war council, his massive frame casting shadows across the holographic displays. The Cronins were warriors by nature, and they respected strength above all else. "This human has killed thousands of our automated defense systems," Vex growled. "He has made our technology look weak." "Perhaps we should study him," suggested Science, Leader Tal. "Learn how humans achieved such enhancement." "No!" Vex slammed his fist on the table. "We capture him, break him, show the galaxy that Cronin's strength is still supreme." Similar conversations were happening across the galaxy. The peaceful Etherian collective wanted to bring Woojin in for study. The militant Razor Fleet saw him as a threat to be eliminated. The mysterious shadow traders wanted to capture and sell him to the highest bidder. None of them understood what they were really hunting. Meanwhile, on a small asteroid mining station in the Outer Rim, Woojin Park was having what he thought would be a routine day. The miners had sent a distress signal about pirates, and he had responded like he always did, alone, quietly, without fanfare. The mining station was a collection of metal domes connected by enclosed walkways. It orbited a dead planet, harvesting valuable minerals from the asteroid belt. The miners were tough people who asked few questions, which made it a perfect place for someone who preferred to remain invisible. Woojin moved through the station's corridors like a ghost. His enhanced senses told him everything he needed to know. 7 pirates armed with standard energy weapons holding 12 miners hostage in the main processing center. Simple extraction, minimal risk. He was wrong. As Woojin approached the processing center, his enhanced hearing caught something that made him freeze. The pirates weren't speaking any human language. They weren't even speaking any language he recognized from the galactic database. "Target acquired," one of them said in accented galactic standard. "Beginning extraction procedure." Woojin's enhanced mind processed the implications instantly. These weren't pirates after money or minerals. They were here for him. He pressed himself against the wall and activated his personal scanner. The readings made his blood run cold. These weren't standard energy weapons the intruders carried. They were neural disruptors, devices designed to shut down enhanced nervous systems. Someone had done their research. "Scan complete," another voice said. "Target is approximately 50 meters from our position. Physiological readings match the profile." Woojin felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's life support. They could track his enhanced metabolism from 50 meters away. This wasn't a coincidence or a lucky guess. Someone had sent professional hunters with equipment specifically designed to capture him. He activated his communication device and sent a coded message to Captain Dong-Hyun Yu, whose cargo ship was docked at the station. The message was simple: "Leave. Now." Then he did what he had been trained to do. He adapted. The hunters expected him to approach directly, using his enhanced speed and reflexes to overwhelm them quickly. Instead, Woojin went through the station's maintenance tunnels, moving slowly and carefully to avoid their scanners. The asteroid mining station was a maze of pipes, cables, and ventilation shafts. Normal humans would have gotten lost in minutes, but Woojin's enhanced mind had mapped every passage within moments of boarding. He emerged in the processing center's secondary control room. Through the transparent aluminum window, he could see the hunters. They wore sleek armor that covered their faces, but their body language told him everything he needed to know. Professional soldiers, probably special forces, definitely not human. The miners were tied up in the center of the room, looking scared but unharmed. The hunters had positioned themselves with clear sight lines to all entrances, setting up a perfect ambush for anyone trying a direct assault. Wu Jin smiled grimly. They had prepared for the legend they had seen in the combat footage. They hadn't. Prepared for the man who had learned to think like them. He began rewiring the processing center's industrial equipment. 20 minutes later, the hunters were starting to get nervous. Their target should have appeared by now. Their scans showed he was still in the station, but he wasn't moving toward them. Maybe he's smarter than the footage suggested, one of them said. Impossible. Enhanced reflexes don't equal enhanced intelligence. That's when the lights went out. Emergency lighting cast red shadows through the processing center as the main power grid failed. The hunters activated their night vision, but the mining equipment around them was generating electromagnetic interference that made their enhanced vision almost useless. "Spread out," their leader ordered. "Find him!" They never saw Wu Jin coming. He had rerouted power from the main grid to the mining lasers, then overloaded the focusing crystals to create a blinding flash that overwhelmed their night vision systems. While they were temporarily blind, he moved. The first hunter went down silently, Wu Jin's enhanced strength allowing him to render the alien unconscious with a single precise strike. The second hunter managed to fire his neural disruptor, but Wu Jin was already gone, moving faster than their targeting systems could track. "Target is mobile," the third hunter reported. "Request backup." "Backup is not available," came the reply, through their communications. "Complete the mission." Wu Jin heard the exchange and understood. This wasn't a military operation with unlimited resources. Someone had sent a small team to test his capabilities. They were expendable. The thought made him angry. He disabled the third and fourth hunters using mining equipment they didn't even know was dangerous. Enhanced reflexes let him predict their movements, while enhanced intelligence let him turn their own tactical training against them. The fifth hunter almost got him. The alien had figured out that Wu Jin was using the mining equipment and had positioned himself away from any machinery. When Wu Jin appeared, the hunter was ready with a neural disruptor aimed directly at his head. Wu Jin moved sideways faster than physics should have allowed and put his fist through the hunter's armor. The last two hunters tried to run using the miners as hostages, but Wu Jin had spent 6 years learning to save people who couldn't save themselves. He moved through the processing center like water, appearing wherever the hunters couldn't defend, disappearing before they could react. When it was over, all 7 hunters were unconscious and tied up with their own equipment. The miners were free and unharmed, and Wu Jin had a problem. "Who sent you?" he asked the conscious hunter. The alien looked at him with what might have been respect. "You're even better than the footage suggested." "Who sent you?" "Does it matter? By now half the galaxy knows what you are. This was just the first attempt." The hunter's voice was calm, professional. "There will be others." Wu Jin felt the weight of those words. For 6 years, he had operated in secret, helping people without anyone knowing who he really was. That anonymity was his greatest protection. Now it was gone. "Why capture me? Why not just kill me?" The hunter almost smiled. "Because you're valuable alive. The technology that made you, the training that shaped you, the genetic modifications. There are species that would pay anything to understand how humans created you. And if they can't capture me, then they'll settle for making sure you can't protect your people anymore." Wu Jin stared at the alien hunter. The implications were clear. He had become a target not just for what he could do, but for what his existence represented. Every victory he achieved made humanity look stronger, and some species didn't want humanity to look strong. "There's something else you should know," the hunter continued. "This wasn't the only team. Right now, there are hunters moving toward every human colony in the Outer Rim. They're not all after you specifically." "What do you mean?" "Some of them are after your brother." Wu Jin felt his enhanced heart skip a beat. Young-Ho Park was a civilian engineer working on a terraforming project 3 systems away. He had no military training, no enhanced abilities, no way to defend himself against professional hunters. "If you surrender now," the hunter said, "we can guarantee his safety." Wu Jin looked at the miner, at the unconscious hunters, at the communication. device that could connect him to his brother's location. For 6 years, he had fought to protect strangers. Now, the war had become personal. He activated his communicator and sent another message to Captain Yu. This one was longer, more detailed, and included coordinates for Young-Ho's location. Then he looked back at the hunter. "Tell whoever sent you that they made a mistake," Wu Jin said quietly. "They wanted to hunt a legend. Now they're going to face something much more dangerous." "What's that?" "A very angry human." The neutral space station called Haven Point floated between human and alien territories like a bridge between two worlds. It was here that the first official diplomatic talks between humanity and the Galactic Council were supposed to take place. Representatives from 12 species had gathered to determine what place humans would have in galactic society. None of them knew that their most wanted target was already aboard. Wu Jin moved through Haven Point's service corridors like a shadow. His enhanced senses mapped every passage, every room, every potential escape route. Getting onto the station had been easy. Security was focused on diplomatic protection, not military infiltration. Finding his brother had been harder. Young-Ho. Park sat in a detention cell 3 levels below the diplomatic quarters. The official records listed him as a person of interest, being held for questioning about terrorist activities. Wu Jin knew better. They were using his brother as bait. Through the ventilation system, Wu Jin could hear conversations from the diplomatic meeting above. Human Ambassador Jinna Song was trying to negotiate humanity's entry into the Galactic Council. She spoke, with passion about cooperation, mutual benefit, and peaceful coexistence. She had no idea that some of the aliens she was talking to had sent hunters to capture her species' greatest defender. The human military capabilities remain largely unknown, Commander Nara was saying in the meeting. "We recommend a probationary membership period for evaluation." Wu Jin almost smiled. They still thought they were dealing with primitive humans who had gotten lucky in a few battles. They had no idea what was really coming. He reached Young-Ho's cell and quickly disabled the electronic lock. His brother looked up in surprise, then relief, then worry. "Wu Jin, what are you doing here? This place is surrounded by alien security forces." "Getting you out," Wu Jin replied, helping his brother stand. "Can you walk?" "I'm fine. But how did you even find me? I thought you were dead." "Long story. We need to move." They made it exactly 10 meters before the ambush activated. The corridor filled with alien soldiers carrying neural disruptors and stun weapons. They had been waiting, knowing that Wu Jin would come for his brother. Motion sensors, heat detectors, and enhanced scanners had tracked his every movement since he entered the station. "Wu Jin Park," called a familiar voice. Commander Vex of the Cronin Empire stepped into view, his massive frame filling the corridor. "You're even better than we expected. Getting onto this station undetected was impressive." "Let my brother go," Wu Jin said calmly. "This is between us." "Actually, it's between your entire species and the galaxy," Vex replied. "You've made humans look too dangerous. Some of us think that's a problem." More soldiers appeared, surrounding them completely. Wu Jin counted 20 aliens with military-grade weapons, positioned with perfect tactical awareness. They had learned from the failures of previous attempts. "The diplomatic talks upstairs are very interesting," Vex continued. "Your ambassador wants humanity to join the Galactic Council as equals. But how can we trust a species that creates weapons like you?" "I'm not a weapon," Wu Jin said. "I'm just a soldier trying to protect people. You're an enhanced human with abilities that rival our best technology. You've defeated every force sent against you. You represent a military capability that threatens the balance of power in the galaxy." Young-Ho looked confused. "Enhanced? Wu Jin, what is he talking about?" Wu Jin's enhanced mind was already calculating possibilities. 20 soldiers, neural disruptors that could shut down his nervous system, limited space for movement. The odds were bad, but not impossible. "The plan was simple," Vex explained. "Capture you, study you, learn how humans created you. Then either duplicate the process for ourselves or make sure humans can never create more like you. And if I don't surrender, then we kill you both and tell the diplomats upstairs that humans are too dangerous to be trusted. Either way, we solve our problem." That's when the station's alarms started blaring. Emergency lights flashed as Haven Point's defense systems activated. Through the station's communication system, a familiar voice echoed through the corridors. "This is Captain Dong-Hyun Yu of the merchant vessel Star Wanderer," the voice announced. "We are responding to a distress signal from this station. All hostile forces should surrender immediately." Vex looked confused. There was no distress signal. Wu Jin smiled. There is now. 3 levels above them, Captain Yu was doing exactly what Wu Jin had asked him to do in that coded message. He had arrived with a convoy of human merchant ships, each one broadcasting emergency signals and requesting permission to dock for humanitarian assistance. The alien diplomatic security forces were suddenly faced with a dozen human ships approaching their neutral station, all claiming to be on rescue missions. They couldn't fire on civilian vessels without causing a diplomatic incident, but they couldn't ignore the potential threat either. In the confusion, Wu Jin moved. His enhanced reflexes let him dodge the first wave of neural disruptor fire. Enhanced strength let him tear through the station's wall panels to create new cover. Enhanced intelligence let him turn the station's own systems against his attackers, but there were still too many of them, and they had learned from previous encounters. They spread out, used crossfire patterns, and coordinated their attacks to limit his movement options. That's when Young-ho surprised everyone. "Override code 77 Alpha," he called out to the station's computer system. "Emergency atmospheric protocol." The corridor's atmosphere recycling system activated, creating a sudden rush of air that disrupted the aliens' formation. Young-ho might have been a civilian, but he was an engineer who understood space station systems better than any soldier. "I've been working on terraforming projects for 5 years, he told his brother as they took cover. "I know how life support systems work." Together, they fought their way through the station. Wu Jin handled the combat while Young-ho manipulated the environmental controls, creating distractions and obstacles for their pursuers. It was the first time in 6 years that Wu Jin had worked with someone who understood his capabilities and could support them. They reached the diplomatic level just as the talks were breaking down. Ambassador Song was arguing with a dozen alien representatives who suddenly seemed much less interested in peaceful cooperation. "The presence of enhanced humans changes everything," one alien was saying. "How do we know there aren't others like him?" "Because there aren't," Dr. Lee's voice came through the communication system. She had connected remotely to the diplomatic meeting. "Wu Jin Park is unique. Project Endurance was a failure that created one success at a terrible cost." "That's what you claim," another alien replied. "But how can we verify that?" That's when Wu Jin walked into the diplomatic chamber. His appearance created immediate chaos. Alien security forces raised their weapons, human diplomats shouted protests, and everyone started talking at once. But Wu Jin just stood calmly in the center of the room, his brother beside him. "You want verification?" he asked quietly. "Here, it is." He activated a holographic projector that showed his complete medical records, psychological evaluations, and enhancement procedures. Every detail of Project Endurance, every failed experiment, every cost of his transformation was displayed for all to see. "This is what it took to create me," he said. 11 volunteers died. I lost everything that made me human except the desire to protect people. Do you really think any species would choose to pay that price?" The room was silent, as aliens and humans alike absorbed the information. The cost of creating Wu Jin hadn't just been technological. It had been profoundly personal. "But there's something else you need to understand," Wu Jin continued. "You've been afraid of what humans might become. You should be more worried about what we already are." He gestured to Young-ho. "My brother isn't enhanced. He's just a regular human engineer. But he understood station systems well enough to help us fight our way through 20 armed soldiers. Captain Yu isn't enhanced either, but he coordinated a rescue operation that confused your best military minds." Ambassador Song stepped forward. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I'm not humanity's greatest strength," Wu Jin replied. "I'm just one example of what humans can do when we refuse to give up. Every human who has served with me, every colony I've helped defend, every person who has heard these stories, they've all learned something important." He looked around the room at faces both human and alien. "They've learned that being human means never accepting defeat, not because we're enhanced or modified or made into weapons, but because that's who we choose to be." Commander Vex spoke from the back of the room. "Pretty words. But you're still a threat." "Yes," Wu Jin agreed. "I am. But not because of my enhancements. I'm a threat because I represent what humans will become when they decide to stand up for themselves. He activated another display, showing recent footage from human colonies. Normal humans, unenhanced and unmodified, fighting against impossible odds with determination that seemed to defy logic. Winning through courage, ingenuity, and refusal to surrender rather than superior technology. You wanted to capture me to learn how humans created a super soldier, Wu Jin said. But that's the wrong question. The right question is, what happens when an entire species decides to fight like super soldiers?